In a cozy burrow beneath a sprawling oak tree, there lived a small, fluffy white rabbit named Snowball. Her pink eyes sparkled with curiosity as she hopped around her home, her tiny paws leaving delicate imprints in the soft earth. Snowball's most prized possession was a shiny, golden pocket watch that hung from a chain around her neck. This wasn't just any ordinary watch, though. It was a magical time-traveling device that Snowball had discovered on one of her adventures. One sunny morning, Snowball decided to fiddle with her pocket watch. She twirled the delicate hands and pressed the tiny buttons, giggling as she imagined all the exciting places she could visit. Suddenly, there was a bright flash of light, and Snowball felt a strange tingling sensation all over her body. "Oh my carrots!" she exclaimed, her little nose twitching with excitement. "What did I just do?" As Snowball poked her head out of her burrow, she gasped in astonishment. The world outside had changed dramatically. The once lush green grass was now long and yellowed, swaying in a warm breeze. The mighty oak tree above her burrow had grown even taller, its branches stretching far into the sky. "Goodness me!" Snowball squeaked, her pink eyes wide with surprise. "Everything looks so old." Snowball hopped out of her burrow, her fluffy white fur ruffling in the wind. She looked around, trying to make sense of what had happened. The flowers in the nearby meadow had bloomed and wilted in the blink of an eye, and the once small saplings were now towering trees. "Oh no," Snowball muttered, her little paws clutching her pocket watch. "I think I've made time go too fast." Determined to fix her mistake, Snowball set off on a journey to find a solution. She hopped through the rapidly changing landscape, watching in amazement as seasons passed in mere minutes. "This is bonkers!" she exclaimed, dodging falling autumn leaves one moment and leaping over melting snow the next. "I've got to find a way to slow things down before the whole world gets too old too fast." As Snowball continued her quest, she encountered other animals who were just as confused by the rapid passage of time. A young fawn, who had grown into a majestic stag in mere moments, approached her. "Excuse me, little rabbit," the stag said, his voice deep and resonant. "Do you know why everything is changing so quickly?" Snowball's ears drooped with guilt as she explained her accidental time manipulation. "Oh dear, Snowball fretted, her tiny paws trembling as she held up her pocket watch. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Stag. I didn't mean to cause all this trouble." The stag, his brown fur now streaked with gray, nodded understandingly. "It's all right, little one," he said gently. "But we must find a way to fix this before it's too late." Together, Snowball and the stag set off to seek help. They traveled through forests that grew and withered in minutes, past rivers that carved deep canyons in seconds, and over mountains that eroded before their very eyes. "This is utterly ridiculous!" Snowball exclaimed, her fluffy tail twitching with nervous energy. "We're getting older by the second." As they journeyed on, they came across a wise old owl perched in a gnarled tree. The owl's feathers were a mix of brown and gray, and his large yellow eyes blinked slowly as he observed the rapidly changing world. "Hoo-hoo, what's the rush?" the owl asked, his voice creaky with age. Snowball and the stag quickly explained their predicament. The owl listened intently, his head tilting from side to side. "Ah, I see," he hooted thoughtfully. "Young rabbit, your pocket watch is indeed powerful. But remember, time is like a river, it flows in one direction. To slow it down, you must find its source." Snowball's pink eyes whitened with excitement. "The source of time?" she squeaked. "Where can we find that?" The owl pointed with his wing to a distant mountain peak that seemed to touch the clouds. "At the top of that mountain," he explained, "you'll find the great clock of the universe. That's where you need to go to set things right." Snowball and the stag thanked the owl and set off towards the mountain, watching as it grew taller and more weathered with each passing second. The journey up the mountain was challenging. Snowball and the stag had to dodge falling rocks and leap over suddenly forming crevasses. "This is absolutely bonkers," Snowball panted, her little legs working overtime to keep up with the rapidly changing terrain. Finally, after what felt like both an eternity and mere moments, they reached the summit. At the top of the mountain stood an enormous, gleaming clock, its gears turning at an alarming speed. Snowball's pocket watch began to glow and vibrate as they approached. "This must be it!" she exclaimed, her pink eyes wide with wonder. With trembling paws, Snowball held up her pocket watch to the great clock. There was a blinding flash of light, and suddenly, everything stood still. When the light faded, Snowball and the stag found themselves back in the forest, surrounded by animals of all ages. Time had returned to its normal pace. The stag, now a young buck again, smiled at Snowball. "You did it, little one," he said proudly. Snowball beamed, her fluffy white fur practically glowing with happiness. "I'm just glad everything's back to normal," she giggled, tucking her pocket watch safely away. "But next time, I think I'll stick to hopping through the present."